I'm bright enough, people can see. Yeah. You don't know how loud it's going to be? No, because I don't know this really public. Find out. Okay, I guess we'll find out. Yeah. I know. Okay, well, hi, welcome. I'm sorry you had to watch me set up my whole case here, but welcome to my TED Talk. This is the All About Takaras presentation, and I thought it would be kind of fun before we really start diving into things to show you a little piece of media before we begin. We don't know how loud this is going to be, so I apologize in advance if you can't hear it or if it blows out your eardrums. Let's try it. Awesome. So that is the only known Takara pony commercial, at least that I've ever been able to locate anywhere. It's like a beautiful little stop-motion nightmare, and I feel like it's a really nice introduction to what we're going to be talking about. So anytime that I show someone a Takara pony for the first time, like if I post it in a group and no one has ever heard of them before, the first thing they ask is, what are these things? There's no way that they're real My Little Pony, right? But they are. They are real My Little Pony. They are licensed My Little Pony products made by a Japanese company called Takara. So Takara ponies, as you probably heard in the commercial, their name in Japan was Oshiri na Pony, which translates loosely to fashionable pony. Some people also call it stylish pony. There are a lot of different translations floating around online. The best ones that I've ever found are on My Little Wiki. I didn't include many translations in this presentation because there are so many of them. But if you ever go to the Takara page on My Little Wiki, they've got a whole thing of translations that you can read through. But it loosely translates to fashionable pony. So if we're going to look at the history of why these guys look so different than any other My Little Pony toy, we really need to look at the history of Takara and Hasbro. So basically what happened was Hasbro, obviously the American company that makes My Little Pony, they were doing really well with Pony. It came out and it immediately struck a chord with the American public. And this was in 1985. And Takara was a Japanese company that a long time ago, in the 60s, Hasbro had licensed G.I. Joe to. Now, G.I. Joe didn't exactly catch on in Japan the way that Takara had hoped at first, but eventually they started marketing G.I. Joe as a cyborg. They actually had him, they cast him in clear plastic and they put some cybernetic parts inside of him, and then all of a sudden Japanese kids were like, ooh, alright, that's cool, we like robots, so yeah. And eventually that line that started with G.I. Joe for Takara became these transforming robot toys that at the time in Japan were called Diaclone and Microchange. Now Takara did have a successful girls' toy line called Laika-chan, these Laika-chan dolls, very standard kind of fashion dolls, sort of like our American Barbie. But they were looking for a girls' toy line that could be successful in the way that Microchange and Diaclone were, and Hasbro was looking for the opposite. They had Pony for girls, but they were looking for a boys' toy line. So it made perfect sense. Hasbro and Takara got together. They basically said, hey, let's do swapsies. You know, we'll give you Pony, you give us robots, it'll be great. And it actually kind of was great. So those are the origins of both Transformers and ponies. Two toy lines that are very related that you probably would never guess that they are. But that doesn't exactly answer the question, you know, because Hasbro had molds that, of four-legged ponies that looked very normal, and Japan was like, yeah, you know, nah, we're not gonna go ahead and use those. We're gonna do our own thing. So why was the decision made? You know, we'll never know for sure. But the educated guess is that there were two main reasons for the way that these guys look. One was to appeal to the Japanese market, the other was to sell doll clothing. So you can see evil Pinky there with her red eye. This is a reference to a story that Liz Knight once told me. Liz Knight, for those who don't know, was one of the original Hasbro designers for My Little Pony. I believe she helped invent sea ponies. She did some incredible things for the pony toy line in America. And she was a special guest at Pony Fair a few years ago. And I asked her when she was here, have you ever heard of Takara ponies? You know, there's these weird ponies in Japan. She said yes. She said she had actually sat in on a kind of focus group where they brought in some kids in Japan to look at Takara ponies, and at the time, the ponies had light blue eyes, because when you look at American, you know, My Little Ponies, they have purple eyes, pink eyes, blue eyes, and she said the kids in Japan sort of went, oh, when they saw the ponies that had blue eyes. What she didn't realize was that, at least at that time in Japan, a lot of monsters and demons and things like that, scary, you know, monster type things, were portrayed as having glowing blue eyes, the same way that they would have glowing red eyes here. So they reacted to that the way that, you know, kids here would react to seeing a Pinky with glowing red eyes. They didn't like it at all. So that just goes to show different things work in different places. And Takara was familiar with what worked in Japan, and they decided this is going to appeal more to the market that we're trying to go for. So, and then the second reason is pretty straightforward: to sell doll clothes. They had a successful girls' toy line already with their Leica-chan dolls. Those dolls had all kinds of clothing. When you're marketing a fashion doll line, you want the girls to buy 1 or 2 actual dolls, and then you really make your money by them buying multiple outfits. So that's what they wanted to do. They knew that formula from their Leica-chan doll line, and they wanted to stick to it. So let's talk about the fabled Takara catalog. Most of what we know image-wise about Takara ponies really comes from this 1985 Takara catalog. Takara released this. You know, you were supposed to flip through and see all of these toys that were going to come out. I don't know if it was actually in 1985 or if it was they were advertising for 1986. These things are going to come out the year after the catalog. I'll tell you right off the bat, before we start flipping through images from the catalog, most of the stuff in here that was advertised for My Little Pony never actually made it into production. They are photographs, so we know that there were prototypes made. They were probably destroyed because that's just sort of standard procedure, what they did. But it's still kind of fun to look through. As we go through the catalog pages, I'll go ahead and tell you, this is real, this was never made. It's really fun, it's also kind of heartbreaking, so, you know, it's Pony Fair, let's get sad together. Let's get broken.
Do you have any tissues for tears?
I forgot to bring those, that was a crucial mistake. So over here on the left-hand side, that yellow page there with Pinky at the top, you're looking at a hair accessory playset. Pinky is this pony here that has the pink body. She's got pink hair in all of these pictures. She was never released with pink hair that I know of. There actually is, I think, maybe one pink-haired Pinky floating around, but she's more of like a mystery and a rumor than an actual like solidified thing. She eventually came to have purple hair, just like the ones up here in the case do. In any case, she's got all of these cute little accessories with her. She got curlers, a hat, little makeup compact. Most of all, that little dresser with the hair dryer. This was real. This was actually made. Besides the fact that she has purple hair and she was sold as a longer-haired variant with that style playset, the hair accessory set does exist. So we're off to a good start. The second image there of all of the ponies in wedding dresses, there's only 2 ponies there, just multiples of them. We have the pink pony, which is Pinky, and then the yellow pony, which is Milky, which we'll talk about them later as characters. They've got their wedding dresses on in 2 different pictures there. These things exist. Pinky and Milky both exist. The wedding dresses exist. So again, we're off to a good start. The second page has this adorable artwork. In my opinion, Takara has some of the cutest artwork. There's this motif that you can look for as well Up in the upper left-hand corner on the left page, you'll see those two ponies in the circle sitting under these almost bluebell-looking flowers. Those flowers appear throughout so much of the Takara art, and they're a really cute little detail to look out for. But anyway, you've got this art, and then down below that you have a picture of these 4 very different looking ponies that all have different kinds of hair. These ponies do also exist. On these 2 pages, you are looking at every adult Takara that exists. There are only 6 individual characters. Now there's a variant of Pinky and Milky. There's a long-haired variant of Pinky, long-haired variant of Milky. But as far as characters go, adult Takara characters, this is it. So on this page, we have this beautiful playset. It looks like it's some kind of house. We have a little bed, a little opening door. It all snaps together, and it's so super cute. You can probably tell by the sound of my voice. It's not real. They didn't make it. We did get a play set that does snap together, sort of, which is good, but we didn't get this one, and in my opinion, this one is a lot better than the one that they actually made. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I just want what I can't have. There is a little, almost carousel-looking accessory set down below that. It has individual little accessory packs inside this really nice carousel-shaped little carrying case. The accessory sets are real, but the great big carousel carrying case was never actually made. So this one, we're going to say 50-50. It's like kind of real. Then we have these adorable plushies, which are my favorite things in the entire Takara catalog. So of course, they don't exist. They never made them. They have this beautiful curled hair. They have ribbons. They've got these little, lace collars on. They look so soft and wonderful, and they're just not real at all. They're just there to taunt me. And then on the next page, we have all these little brushable baby twin animal sets, which are just beyond adorable. The 2 little ponies right there in the middle, those are real. Everything else is fiction. We've never seen these guys. We've never seen the molds for these guys that I know of. Like, we've never seen fakies of these guys. They just straight don't exist, which is a shame, because when you look at those alligators, those are the funniest looking things that I've ever seen. They're ridiculous. They kind of look like alligators in the same way the ponies look like ponies. It's like a very loose interpretation of that animal, I feel. Then down below that, we have 2 little play sets for the baby ponies. We've got a bathtub play set, and then below that, we've got a carriage play set. These are both real, which is pretty cool. So the babies, the adults they got messed over a little bit on the play sets, but the babies did get 2 entire play sets, which is pretty cool. Then to the left of those, there are these things, obviously not real. I don't know what to call these. I want to call them teenage Takaras, but they have pacifiers. But the babies, who are clearly smaller and younger, do not have pacifiers. So I don't know what you would call these, like sweetheart sister Takara, ponies. I'm not sure.
Ravers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was before the fad of the pacifiers.
Yeah.
Maybe Japan was just ahead of us.
Yeah.
They are posable.
They're always
you can tell when you look at them that they're posable. They were meant to be sold with outfits, just like the adults, but they were never made. So let's talk about what we do have, though, now that we're all heartbroken. We have here the 2 main adult Takara ponies. Some translations on the back of Takara boxes say that these guys are sisters. Some translations say that they are best friends. I think of them as best friends. I don't really think they look that much like sisters, but whatever your headcanon, you can make them whatever you want. One is Pinky, obviously the pink one. One is Milky. They come in, that's the really cool thing about these guys, is that they come in all kinds of different packaging and outfits. So just look at these ones that have been found. They're nothing alike as far as, they all come in square boxes that are roughly the same size, and that's kind of where the similarities end. You can get them in school uniforms. You can get them with brushes, with hair accessories. Sometimes they have full wedding regalia. Sometimes the pony is completely naked, except for this weird little lacy bib. That's the way that my Milky came. I don't know why you would take a bib, tie it around an adult fashion doll's neck, and be like, that's good enough. But they did. They did that a lot.
Probably make it cheaper for a quick grab.
Yeah, just, you know, I'm sure it was a production cost issue, but they thought it was acceptable enough. But the exciting thing about this is that if you do manage to find a Pinky or a Milky mint in box, which obviously is hard to find, but they're still the most common adult Takara ponies out there, as common as Takara adults get, there is always a chance that you are getting a Pinky or a Milky that is being sold in a way that none have been sold before, you know? So it's really exciting, especially in a line where we don't have that much merch. We don't have that many characters to go to. So it's pretty cool.
What are the mint on cards range like in price?
Oh, I'm going to have a Q&A at the end. Yep. These are Ochame fashion ponies. These are the other 4 adult Takara ponies that we actually did manage to get. Up at the top is how they looked in the original 1985 promotional material from Takara. Down below are the real photographs of the real ones that have been found. I have 2 of these guys. The other 2, there's only 1 of each of them, and they do not live with me. The one on the far left is Sarah Sarah, so if you compare her to the pink Sarah Sarah up top, she's the one that changed the most from her original design. All these guys, by the way, I should have told you this to begin with, they're all named after their hair. So their hair is, each one has a different hairstyle, and their name refers to their hairstyle. So Sarah Sarah means straight, Ami Ami means braided, Fua Fua means fluffy, and Kuru Kuru means curly. So Sarah Sarah, I am lucky enough to own. I think there's about 3 of her. She changed the most from her original design. I'm guessing because in her original design she looked a little too much like Pinky, even though her hair was straight and not curled. The next is Ami Ami. I do not own this one. There's only 1 of these that are known to exist other than a prototype that's floating around out there, but the prototypes have no eyes. And they didn't come with outfits or anything that I know of. And then we have Fua Fua, who she changed the least from her original design. Ami Ami kind of got a little mintier green. Fua Fua is almost the same. She has a peachier colored body than she did in her original design, but they kept that incredible cheerleading type outfit with the little blue ascot and the things in the hair. Fua Fua is my favorite Takara pony, which makes her my favorite pony, period, of all time. And the person that sold Fua Fua to me is actually right here. So thank you so much for getting me addicted to this pony line. I just think she's great. I love that her outfit has a little P on it, which I can only assume stands for pony. So I always pose her with her arms up in the air like she's going, woo, ponies! Like, she's a cheerleader for ponies. It's great. And then the next one is Kuru Kuru. Also didn't change that much from her original design. Her body's a little bit mintier, a little less yellow. And there's only 1 of her as well, and I do not own her. But I am very lucky to have Sarah Sarah and Fua Fua that you guys after the talk can come up and take a look at. So those are all of the adult Takara ponies. So let's talk about Takara babies. There are 2 authentic Takara babies as far as characters go. There is Lily and there is Popo. Now some sources can't agree on who is Lily and who is Popo, but the general consensus is that Lily is the pink one, Popo is the yellow one. Lily was cast with her arms down, Popo was cast with her arms up. These guys come in 2 different play sets, the carriage set and the bathtub set. I'm very lucky to own the bathtub set, especially since it's my favorite of the 2. The only difference between the babies that come with the bathtub set and the babies that come with the carriage set is that in the bathtub set, they have drain holes at the bottom, which is nice, so you can actually get them wet and squeeze the water out if you want to do that with very rare ponies. But the Takara bathtub set, the thing that's really cool about it is that it comes with a lot of bath time accessories. It has a little sponge, it has a little thing that you can put in the water and squeeze to make bubbles. So they really wanted kids to play with these things, and I appreciate that. I think that's nice. The carriage set is also very nice. I have seen that one, and I have a fakey version of that set that I'll talk about a little later. It has this beautiful stamped design in the plastic. The wheels really spin, so it's pretty cool. I know a lot of you are probably thinking, but I've seen these babies before, and I've seen them in different colors, and like they don't seem that rare because I've seen them on eBay before, and they go for like $30 to $40, and that is because of this. That is because of fakey Takara babies. There are a ton of Takara fakey babies. I don't know how so many companies got a hold of the molds for actual Takara babies, but they did. And they have blessed us with a wealth of just weird, wonderful, colorful, fake Takara babies. The really cool thing about some of these guys is that because they used the actual Takara molds, they actually say Takara on the bottom. That does lead to a lot of heartbreak though, because someone will find a Takara fakie, they'll look on the bottom and it'll say Takara and they'll be like, oh my gosh, this is a real Takara baby. But most of the time it's not, it's just the mold that they used. And with Takara babies, again, because those molds got passed around so much to all these different entities in all these different countries, things get weird. Things get really, really weird sometimes with these guys. So as you can see, there was at least one fakey company that was like, you know, ponies are nice, but you know what would be better? Is if we could just stick them on these weird shaggy dog bodies. And then we got Takara pups, as they're sort of known. These two down in the middle, they don't really have anything to do with Takaras to look at them. They're just a dog and an elephant, but they have the bodies, the same bodies as the Takara pups. So I don't know what they were thinking with that one. They got creative. Some fakies rip off not just the Takara babies themselves, but the actual artwork, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Some of them come with cases, some of them come in boxes, some of them come with a ton of accessories, some of them come with none. Some of them come in little purses that you can wear and carry around. They come in all different colors. Most of them are cast from Lily that has her hands down in her lap, but as you can see with this yellow one here, some of them are cast from Popo with the arms up. So there's tons of variation. I want to talk for a minute about a Spanish fakey company. It is the best fakey company ever. I'm going to butcher the name. It is Palau. There you go. This company is called Palau. They made not only Takara fakey babies, they made play sets. They ripped off all of the art. They translated it into Spanish, but the boxes that come with these fakey play sets are identical to the Takara boxes except for the logo and the language. You can actually, when you look at these boxes, see the pixelation because I think they literally took a Takara box, scanned it in the early days of scanning, and just printed it out right on another sheet. It's pretty crazy. Mis caballitos lindos. This is the fake carriage playset. As you can see in the artwork on the box, the colors of the babies are correct. Popo has her arms out, Lily has her arms down. But when you look at the actual babies, they switched the colors around. Which with this attention to detail, like how could you get that wrong of all things? They got the artwork correct, but they included, you know, all the same accessories. They included the little card that has the picture on it, but they got the colors of the actual ponies wrong somehow. But the carriage is really amazing. It looks so close, so similar to the real carriage that people sometimes have a difficult time if they only have a carriage to sell, a Takara carriage. There's almost no way to tell the difference between the actual carriage and the real thing. You can tell the difference between the ponies very easily, and I'm going to talk about how in a minute. But the carriage itself is really good. Another thing that this company did is that they made fake Takara adults, which I think those are the coolest fakies in the world. I'm a little bit biased because I love Takaras so much. But I'm lucky enough to own one of these guys. They don't look quite right, which I'll talk about in a minute. There are ways to tell the differences between them, but they're pretty darn close, and they are posable. They have different clothing that they were sold with, so it's pretty neat.
Is that one packaged sideways?
That one is packaged sideways, yeah. And that one was not mine. I didn't get mine in the package, so I'm not 100% sure if that is something someone did or not.
Okay.
But yeah, she is packaged sideways. So if you're trying to tell the difference between a fake Takara and a real Takara, there are two main ways that you can do that. The first and easiest way is to just look at the quality of the ponies themselves. Takara made high-quality toys. The paint on them is pristine. The babies have airbrushed cheeks. The paint is nice and bright. It will get scratched sometimes, but even when it does, it doesn't show the material beneath the paint normally. It's just very high quality. With the adults, you can see the difference between the hair really starkly. The fake Takara Pinky with the pink hair up front versus the real Takara Pinky, there's no comparison when it comes to that hair. All Takara hair, even the curly or fluffy hair like on Fua Fua, is very soft. It's super silky. It almost feels like there's conditioner in it. It's really, really nice hair. And the fakies feel more like, they feel almost like Brazilian ponies' hair sometimes. Very rough, very coarse, doesn't style all that well. It took me forever to get her mane into like decent photographable shape. And her eyebrows are brown. I don't know why, but all of the adult Takara fakies that I've ever seen from this company, they have brown eyebrows instead of black, so that's another dead giveaway. And on the baby, you can see, you know, the cast is wrong. The pink pony is supposed to have her arms down. This one has her arms up, so that's also a dead giveaway. If none of that is enough for you, and you are thoroughly convinced that you have got a real Takara baby, you can pop their head off and look at the neck joint. Full disclosure, these are not my pictures. I have never done this. I am not brave enough to do this. I just go by the quality, and I got all of my stuff with the packaging mostly, so I was lucky that I didn't really have to do an investigation. But you can do this. If you're really determined to know, you can pop them off. They have this weird cup-shaped neck joint, and no fakie that I know of has ever been found to have this weird cup-shaped neck joint. They have all kinds of different neck joints. Some of them have T-shaped neck joints, but they don't have this weird cup thing. So let's talk about Takara pony playsets, because we did get a few. Besides the babies, we got 2 playsets for adult Takara ponies, which we were very lucky to get because this was a very short-lived toy line. So first we have hair designer sets. This picture has a pink-haired Pinky, which is why I mentioned earlier she's sort of a mystery and a rumor. I have never seen her myself, but what I can tell you is that these hair accessory sets do exist. I have a long-haired Pinky that originally came with this set. It came with hair curlers, the little hair dryer, which, by the way, the hair dryer was reused several times with the Laika-chan dolls, and I believe the dresser was too. So if you're a Laika-chan collector, you might recognize some of this stuff, because they did reuse the molds for that. But anyway, the Pinky and Milkies that came with these hair accessories, they came in a larger box. They came with hair clip-ins, a hat, brushes, the dresser, the hair dryer, and I think it qualifies as a play set, but really it's more just a pony with a whole lot of hairstyling accessories and longer hair that can be more easily styled. This is the play-settiest play set that Takara ever released. This is the Primping House, or some translations say Stylish House, Takara pony play set. It comes in a big box. It can come with either Pinky or Milky. They almost always have those weird little aprons on, so the pony will be completely naked except for this weird little lacy apron around its neck. And inside the larger box is the actual playset itself. Go back one. So I've got some pictures here of when I first opened my Primping House playset. I think that there's 5 or 6 of these playsets floating around out there. Maybe that number might be a little bit high, but I mean, the fact that so many of them have survived is kind of evidence that they did make a lot of these. So the playset is held together with Velcro, which is kind of unusual, and it's a really nice design because you don't have to slide little plastic tabs into anything. It's not going to break. It comes with tons of accessories, my favorite of which is this little table where you can put the little bows and things that come with it. And there is a mirror in here that is very reflective. I mean, you can take selfies in this mirror. It's not like if you buy like a Barbie dream house and she has a dresser and it's almost like tin foil on the mirror. It's like nobody could see themselves in that. You can see yourself in this mirror. This is a real mirror, just tiny.
You see your camera in it.
So you can see all these different accessories that came with the house. There was a hat and a chair. The chair is my favorite, along with the little table. Takara is very interesting because so many of their accessories are really high quality. You've got these clothes that have this lace and these embroidery, and they make little necklaces that have like actual little, you know, pearl-looking beads on them and little charms. And then you also have these accessories that just sort of are plastic and they just snap out of these sheets, you know, that they could just produce very quickly en masse. So with Takara, you get a little bit of everything, but you can see the detail in this playset with the artwork is crazy. When you look at the walls, you can see that repeating sort of bluebell motif. The rug there, it's not really a rug, it's just, you know, printed on the floor, but it says My Little Pony, Pinky and Milky. So a really high level of detail in that playset. Now my favorite thing about the playset is there's this little interactive element to it where I think that the point of this, I asked someone to translate it for me once, and it's basically a makeover station, is how they described it. So you take this key, you turn it in each slot, and depending on which slot you stick it into, different versions of Pinky and Milky in different outfits will pop up. So this is supposed to be like inspiration, like dress me up like this, dress me up like this. It's really, really cute. And again, the artwork in this playset, it's the best part of the playset, is really the artwork. So let's talk about Takara Ponywear a little bit. There was much more ponywear made that has survived than ponies themselves. So even if you can't find an actual Takara pony, chances are you probably can, if you look hard enough, ask around enough, you can find authentic Takara clothing sets. So the clothing sets would come, there were 3 different kinds of ponywear sets. The clothing sets would come with a main outfit piece, like a dress, then it would come with a hair accessory, which in the case of these wedding sets were veils, and then it would come with a piece of jewelry. And the jewelry is really, really nice. It's made from the same kind of materials that real jewelry is made from. Real metal, real little crystal charms. Pretty cool. The other kind of Takara Ponywear were accessory sets. These did not come with main outfit pieces, they only came with accessories. So you get a hair accessory and a couple of pieces of jewelry and little things to put in their hair, little plastic pieces that you can put in their hair. Then there were the deluxe ponywear sets, which unfortunately are the hardest to find. They're also the coolest, in my opinion. They come with cute little cardboard cutouts of Pinky and Milky with different outfits. They come with at least 2 main clothing pieces. They come with hair extensions. They come with hair accessories. They come with hats. Even though it's blasphemy, I did open this set briefly because there was something I had to take out. There was a pair of shoes. They were red Takara shoes. I had never seen Takara shoes before. I put them on my fuafua because she had a little red dress that they just went perfectly with. But these sets are really, really cool. And again, to me, even more than the clothing, the artwork is really what I love. You're basically getting little paper dolls of Pinky and Milky when you have these sets. I did want to talk briefly about Takara hair and the way that it's rooted, because it's very unusual, as you can see. The tail is rooted kind of similarly to the way that South African ponies' tails are. They've got 2 rows, but the mane is really what's most interesting. It's closer to doll hair, really, than it is to pony hair, in my opinion. It's got these bangs, the layers for the bangs. It's got the 2 rows for the hair that goes down. The hair is also in different lengths. so that it'll fall a certain way on their head. So you end up with a pony that really does look, as much as it's possible to, it looks like it has a human hairstyle almost. You know, it'll have like curly hair off to the side, or it'll have, you know, 2 braids in the case of Ami Ami, and they have bangs. It's just really cute, and it's interesting to see that. For a long time, I didn't realize that Takara ponies had tails. I always would see pictures of Takara ponies from the front. In the beginning, you know, back when I was very first starting to look at these things, a lot of the pictures were not that high quality that were online, so they would be a little bit pixelated. You'd only see them from the front, and you wouldn't realize that they actually had tails in the back. So, something that I hear a lot is, okay, I'm an adult with real responsibilities, and I make good financial decisions, so I don't want to go chasing after Takara ponies, because they're hard to find and they're insanely expensive, but I have Takara fever, and I want to be a part of this. I want to, you know, I want to be a part of the Takara family. I want to own some things that are Takara-like. And you're in luck, because there are tons of ways that you can own Takara's, you know, Takara-like things. There are a ton of artists right here in our own community who make incredible artwork featuring Takaras. I have a couple of little plushies up here that you guys can see after the presentation. Those were made by, I bought those at the Pony Fair a few years ago. Those were made by an artist right here in our community. The resin Takara that you see right there, and the charm on the necklace that I'm wearing, those were made by Nicole Holly, who's right there in the back. And a lot of her little resin Takaras are up here as well. So you can, these are things that you can easily find. This is a sea pony Takara on Etsy. People make all kinds of mixes and, you know, different color combinations, different species combinations. My friend Larissa makes these incredible mugs and keychains and all kinds of 3D printed things that feature Takaras. So you can participate in Takara-dom. No matter who you are, no matter how long you want to spend searching for these things, you can have some Takara stuff. You can have some Takara swag. And that's pretty much it. What I would love to do is open it up for questions and answers. And I'd love for everyone to come up and see the case, and I've got some things on the table for you to see, but I do ask that you please wait to come up to the front until after the questions and answers. That way I can sort of field questions up here once people are up at the table. And I do have some authentic Takara items over here. I don't need to tell you guys to be careful. We're all collectors here, you know, to handle it with care. Does anybody have any questions for me?
So how much are like the mid-on-card adults? Like the common one?
Oh, how much?
Yeah, just right.
Let's see. Pinky and Milky in box. I have seen that their prices fluctuate wildly. I'll tell you that right from the bat. So like Pinky and Milky, your standard Takara ponies, if they come with nice pony wear, if they come with like a wedding set or something like that, they'll go sometimes in the 2,000 to 3,000 range. If you've got a Milky like the one that I bought, that is naked and has a crappy little bib, and she doesn't come with anything but a comb, but she's still got her box and she's in good condition. Sometimes 800 to 1,200, 800 to 1,200. So that's like Rapunzel prices, right? Any of the stylish hair ponies, the Ochame ponies, they're a lot more expensive, just because they're more hard to find, if they're mint in box. But if you find them out of the box, and depending on condition, I've seen them go for 600 or 700. You know, there was a Fua a few years ago that my friend bought that was very beat up. I think she got her for around 650, something like that. So totally depends on condition, accessories, you know, things like that.
What's the best way to find them if you're interested in like collecting? Is like eBay the best bet, or?
eBay is actually not the best bet. If you want to find these guys, the best place to go, honestly, is still the My Little Pony arena, in my opinion, the forum. I know forums are like so old-fashioned now, but that's honestly where I found most of mine. Other collectors, you know, talk to other collectors. Instagram is becoming, and I feel like a dinosaur because I'm like not with it. I'm not on Instagram as much as I should be, especially as an artist. But Instagram is becoming a really good place to, you know, if people have pictures of them, they put those pictures on Instagram. That's how I learned that there were Takara pony prototypes, is because someone, you know, owns them and puts a lot of pictures on Instagram, which is really cool to see. Another avenue is if you go to Yahoo Japan auctions, that is where Japanese, you know, sellers like to sell their stuff, much more so than eBay. So if you go there and just use Google Translate to translate the page, ever so often you can find them that way too. Yeah, but your best bet is other collectors, is what I'd say.
Probably at this point, yeah.
Anybody else?
Do you know why they didn't do so well in Japan? Or like why they didn't make more of them?
You know, that is like, she asked why didn't they make more of them, why didn't the line last longer? I don't know if they didn't do well, or if I do know, I'll have to make an educated guess because no one quite knows the answer to that question. But my educated guess is just, Japan is very ruthless when it comes to marketing stuff. If something doesn't hit a certain number within a certain amount of time, you know, in America they might say, yeah, but it's doing well enough, give it a little bit of time. In Japan, it's sort of unforgiving. They're sort of like, all right, well, that's not working, scrap it. Burn the prototypes, you know, throw it away. And they just start completely over, which, that's why we get so much cool and innovative stuff out of Japan. They're always trying new stuff. They're always turning things over. They're always making new things. But my guess is just very different marketing practices. You know, it didn't hit a certain number by a certain time, so they scrapped it.
So as far as like release dates for that, so we're thinking like 80s, 85, 86?
Yeah.
I mean, and it was just during that time, so it was just a real small window.
It was about a year and a half. Yeah, about a year and a half, and that's why these stylish hair ponies are so much harder to find, because they came out in year 2, and as all collectors know, year 2 stuff of any line is like the worst to try to find. You can find all the stuff that was made in year 1, and sometimes you can even find year 3, but like the second year of any line is just the worst. But yeah, it was about a year and a half. That's all we got. And something else that comes up a lot that's kind of related to that is that, you know, why didn't more of them survive? I mean, they had to make warehouses full of them. Where did they all go, you know, if they were shipped out to the stores, even if they were only there for a year and a half? And it's just, there weren't, in Japan at that time, there was not a network of thrift stores the way that there are now. There wasn't this idea of like, oh, I'll hold on to this. You know, toys were for kids, and once your kid outgrew that toy, you got rid of the toy. You know, you didn't really give it away to, like, you know, sell somewhere else. You got rid of it. So that's why so few of them survived.
Is there a community in Japan that collect them?
That's a really good question. She asked, is there a community in Japan that collects them? I hope so. I really hope so. That would be so cool. I went to Japan in 2017, and of course, as a Takara collector, one of the things I really wanted to do was find a Takara pony somewhere in the wild. And I hit up just about every secondhand girls' toy shop in Tokyo, didn't find a thing. And I would even go and I would show, you know, pull up pictures on my phone and say, have you ever seen anything like this? And they'd just be like, no, I've never seen that. You know, so I hope that I know that there are people in Japan who own some of these ponies, and they have Instagram accounts and they put pictures up. So, I mean, I'd be shocked if there wasn't a little bit of a fandom there, but I'm not in it. I don't quite know the answer to that for sure, but I hope so.
Do you know how much they sold for, like, in stores?
Oh, in stores, that's a really good question. I know that some have been found. None of the boxes that I've ever gotten have price tags on them. So I can't answer that question, but I know that other people have seen Takara boxes that had price tags on them. I would be shocked if they went for more than, you know, $20 American. I mean, maybe they did, but I'd be shocked if they did, because they wanted to sell them at affordable prices as fashion dolls, so that a girl could buy the doll and then, you know, buy a lot of clothing sets to go with it. So they couldn't have been all that much, which is crazy to think about.
Well, even the Rika-chan dolls, they sell for quite expensive over there nowadays. So I'd say they could be between 20 and 30 even, just for one with the nicer clothes in it. So
It's possible.
yeah.
And you know, the 80s were, as we all know, toy-wise, they were a time of excess. You know, like they were making really big sets and, you know, all these big toys. So yeah, it's possible, you know, if they felt that the market had the money to pay that, then they were going to price it at whatever they thought the market would pay, you know. Yeah.
The side question, the thing as you know about it, is when I went to Japan and also looked for these, I saw regular ponies from the same era. Were they sold alongside, or was that something they brought in later?
That's a really good question. I don't actually know very much about regular ponies that were sold in Japan.
They were there, like Honda.
Yeah, yeah, and I found that too. In secondhand shops in Tokyo,
Yeah.
I ran across regular My Little Ponies, and I was like, did they even have these over, you know? They must have, or they got them, you know, secondhand at some point. But I'm not 100% sure. As much as I know about Takaras, I know shockingly little about regular ponies in Japan. Now I know that they came out with those keychains. There was a line of Japanese keychains that are quite sought after, and those are really interesting. But besides those and Takaras, I'm not really sure.
Why did the Spanish market decide to make knockoffs of a toy that was only around for a year and a half?
That's a really good question. What I'm guessing is that, yeah, they definitely got a hold of the mold and they were like, hey, you know, but as far as how they got a hold of the mold, I'm not sure. One thing I will say about Spain, they are not afraid to try stuff. Like, if you look at Spanish piggy ponies, I mean, that's kind of a similar situation as when you look at Takara. They had the regular pony molds, but they were like, nah, you know, we're going to make them like kind of chubby looking, and we're going to give them tiny feet, and we're going to give them Betty by eyes, you know, just because we can. You know, we have the license. And, you know, Spain is just, I think they're just kind of like that, you know, when they see something unusual, they're like, oh, let's throw this at the wall, see if it sticks, you know. That's my best guess. And, you know, maybe it's just a situation where somebody knew somebody and they were able to get the molds really cheap. And obviously they had Takara artwork on hand. I mean, they probably got, you know, a real Takara set at some point and were like, all right, let's just take the artwork off the boxes, scan it in, and, you know, translate it into Spanish. Let's go. So, yeah.
I hope my question's a good segue to show and tell, but do they have pony smell? How does the material difference?
Takara ponies smell amazing. Takara ponies smell so good. It's their hair. It's their hair that really has a unique smell, not so much the plastic. Takara hair, when I got my first Takara pony, which was Fua Fua, as I was taking her out of the packaging, I felt her hair, and it was so silky, and I didn't expect that because her hair is so, you know, big and poofy. But it was silky, almost like it had conditioner in it. And their hair smells like conditioner. Like their hair smells almost like hair product. It's crazy. But yeah, the plastic not so much, but definitely the hair. Is that everybody's questions? All right, well, feel free to come up to the front. Anything on the table, please feel free to pick up and look at. Do be careful. I know I don't have to tell you guys that, but thank you guys so much, too, for coming.